Rebellion rises.
Hey, it's ODB, the Lincoln Addict, and this is what I'm going to call a preview for this 1965 Lincoln Continental Custom Convertible. I am planning to do a deeper dive on this, but it's more of a heads up, very high level overview of this car that's going to be coming to Barrett-Jackson. You can visit Barrett-Jackson website. It's it's barrett-jackson.com. And I'm not affiliated with the seller, and I'm more just a fan. I have followed this car through social media for some time now. And again, this is just a very, very high level. I'm not going to go into detail. But long story short, this is a 65 Lincoln Continental Convertible that is going to be coming up September 20th through the 30th in New Orleans. Or New Orleans, as some pronounce. Basically, that's in a month, right? So what you're looking at here is, of course, a drop top convertible 65. If this is your cup of tea, or maybe you know someone that might be interested in this car, certainly this is a kind of a unique opportunity. You can see it has air suspension on it. It has that nice big offset wheel in the rear. We can see the 65 taillights back here. We can see a couple of features that it has. But again, I'll go over some of that in the deep dive. The biggest thing that's a draw to this, quote, resto mod to me is the Coyote engine. Now, oftentimes when I think of one of the first Lincolns that had a Coyote, I'd have to look back and see, in my notes. But off the top of my head, this is one that comes to mind. And oftentimes folks are, messaging me saying, hey, I want a black Lincoln. I want something that's resto modded. I want something that's airbagged with basically adjustable suspension. And this thing really ticks the boxes, I think, for a lot of people. So it is worth noting that this car is going to be coming up for sale. Now, again, I'm not necessarily friends or acquaintances even with the owner of it. I just know him through social media. So again, I'm not trying to sway anyone to buy said car. I always suggest that you either look at these cars, a test drive if you can. Obviously, maybe there's an opportunity to make a deal ahead of time. I doubt it. The way I understand Barrett-Jackson to work is, since it's a no reserve, I think you have to sign the title over to them. So there's a lot of risk in that, but that's really for another video. But you can see, again, the Coyote engine, 5.0, if you will. This is something that a lot of people are doing, and this has been done for some time now. I would encourage you, if you're on Instagram, or if you're like me and you're going to research something, or this car has piqued your interest, go and look up 559 Lincoln altogether, and you're going to see this is the owner, and he has posted photos and videos and things like that over the course of time. You could scroll back. I want to say, I think I know who did the engine swap on it, but because I'm not doing the deep dive, I don't want to get any information incorrect. So I'll come back with that information. But something to point out, again, this is the owner's Instagram. So I guess hypothetically, if you had some questions, you could certainly message the individual. But if we kind of finish looking at some of the photos over here, you're going to see, again, some resto mod style things that are done to this car. It looks like it's on a battery tender here. I do believe it is in California. I think 559 might be the area code for where this person lives. But I have followed this car on social media for a while. And whether it's maybe a celebrity, a football player, basketball player, or just someone that has done great in life, sometimes they're looking for a higher end resto mod style car. And this is certainly one that might tick those boxes for them. In the deep dive, I do plan to kind of go over more detail, and the main purpose of this is really just to kind of get the word out. Oftentimes people say, man, I wish I would have known about such and such. Now, if we scroll down, if you've been watching these videos for any length of time, one of the gripes that I have with Barrett-Jackson is they don't always provide a lot of information in the description. And you can see this one actually has a little bit more information than I've seen in the past. So that is a good thing. A couple things that stand out. Obviously, it's a 5.0 liter Gen 2 Coyote V8. So oftentimes people say, where does the word Coyote come from? That's just what these engines are referred to as. He talks about the potential amount that's been invested in this car. Some of the other names that kind of come up here. A lot of these things are products that a lot of Lincoln owners end up having to go with or contemplate purchasing because there's not a lot of options in the Lincoln community always, to do a resto mod, right? There's only a certain kind of a set amount of vendors, if you will, that make parts. But though that's kind of a high level. And again, the Instagram is here, 559 Lincoln. It is worth noting that if you go to tagged, typically you use Instagram on a phone, but if you go to tagged, you'll see the Continental Collective. Now, ironically enough, I had David Escalante on Lincoln Addict podcast, and he talked about some of the things that he does to Lincolns, and he had posted this reel reinforcing that this car was going to be coming up for auction in New Orleans. And he did, my understanding, recently did do some work to this car. He, of course, also here gives credit where he says absolutely an amazing build with tons of work done by big names in the industry. The Coyote swapped narrowed 9-inch will keep you howling in the wind. So again, I would encourage you to check out the posts as well as everything that's been tagged, and you'll see that he's owned this car now for some time. And, that just aids sometimes in trying to kind of figure out, hey, is this a car that you want to potentially look at purchasing? Even going back, it's kind of cool to see like this Classics Daily. They had tagged him, kind of a transformation type post. So sometimes you're able to kind of go back and also figure out, what did this car originally start at? Was it a car, like this, that fairly solid and things like that? But again, I'll leave that research to you. I hope that you enjoyed this preview. Certainly, if you want a deep dive, comment below. Let me know what you think of this car so far. And I would suggest that you stay on the rise. Thanks for all the support. Don't forget to check out Lincoln Addict Podcast however you find podcasts. Take care. ODB, we out.